Hello everyone, nubkeks here and welcome back to Nubraids. And in today's video, I'm actually recording this intro separately because we've got some really good news. Obviously, yesterday with the live arena patch, Plarium completely destroyed almost everyone's HYDRA teams. In fact, yeah, probably everyone had a HYDRA team or two, probably three. All three of mine, absolutely, were destroyed by the change they put in with the Head of Decay. We have really good news from the Plarium community managers, though. They say, hi, everyone. Want to address the recent HYDRA changes. The fix in the 7.0.0 update corrected a long-standing bug in which Almighty Decay destroyed incorrect percentage of HP. The formula was fixed, and now the passive works as initially intended. However, seeing that this change has negatively impacted the already established team compositions and HYDRA-dedicated healing champions, we made a decision to roll back this fix and update the description of Almighty Decay passive so it can accurately represent a passive's mechanic. These changes will be implemented in the nearest future. We'll notify you once we have more details. So, probably, unfortunately, this change won't be live, I'm guessing, on time for the reset. Like, I might miss out on my Nightmare HYDRA top chest, unfortunately, this week. I'm going to give it a go, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I've already run my other keys, so loads of my champions, 12 of my best HYDRA champions are locked out. Although some of them wouldn't work, like Nekmothar is just a liability until they fix this. But it's coming soon, so I'm hoping certainly we might miss out on this reset, but it should be good for after that. But yeah, I think it's kind of dumb. Like I said in the video, this was really stupid. I appreciate that this was apparently a bug. Okay, I can appreciate that. But again, fixing a bug after a year and a half, in such a way that completely destroys all of those teams and HYDRA-specific champions is so silly. Look, I'm open to HYDRA, obviously, to HYDRA being really difficult, and I'm cool if they want to come in and say, okay, we're making the Almighty Decay, we're making that stronger in the future HYDRA difficulties. So you're going to need, I guess, Miracle Heal kind of helps, but not really. Like, it's a pretty wonky passive. They need to make it work properly, because Miracle Heal is not going to save you from Leech, right? Because that's, unless you run Miracle Heal 6-star and all 6 of your champions, anyone without Miracle Heal is going to get messed over by Leech. So I think it's kind of dumb. I'd just leave it as it is, in my opinion. But look, if they wanted to add further stuff to make HYDRA harder in future and mix up the teams and the types of champions we want to use, like, cool, yo, I'm okay with that. I'll go along with it. But this is definitely not how to do it. It was just bad. And they've clearly rolled it back for the reasons I said in the previous video. But yes, that is good. Let me show you a team. I recorded this video a couple of days ago. The thing that's coming up, which is my team for hard HYDRA this rotation, full auto, that absolutely smashes it, no problem. I recorded this a couple of days ago, and I was going to record my one on Brutal as well, and Nightmare for this week when all of this craziness kicked off. So I had to postpone the video, but hey, we're back now. Stay tuned. Here comes my team for hard HYDRA, and a video that should have come out yesterday is coming out today instead. So here we go. Hello there, everyone. Nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nubraids. And in today's video, I want to show you my full auto team for hard here on rotation 6 of HYDRA. Basically, you guys have been asking a lot in recent videos. Can I show you all the different teams that I'm using at the moment? So in the process of actually switching up these teams, for example, this is a team that I'm just trying out for the first time on this rotation. And there's one change that I definitely will be making for this team. And although this team is working on hard difficulty right now, I think with a couple of different champions in there, this is actually a team that's probably not all that far off of doing Nightmare just fine, to be honest with you. And obviously I'll show you all the builds and all that sort of stuff, and stay tuned for my Brutal and my Nightmare team. The Brutal team I've done already, I've recorded the run. It's pretty good. And then the Nightmare team, we're going to do something fun with that. Because of course I just pulled Tila. I've almost got her all good to go, and we're going to be running her in a Nightmare, which would be cool. Let's talk about this team though. What do we have in here? What is going on? Well, first of all, from left to right here, we do have Inquisitor Shamail here on the far left. He is coming in. We don't have any source of perfect veil. He's just such a great champion for going in full auto and not really stressing out, right? So he is basically throwing out some damage, which is nice. And he is, yeah, again, turning all of those fears from the fear head into turn meter boost for our lead champion, which is just fantastic. Next up, we have Sissia Flametongue. Now, she is actually the champion that is going to be replaced pretty much for sure from this team. She's very, very good. Don't get me wrong, she's really good. She's bringing in HP burn. She can explode the HP burn. And she obviously puts out decreased defense and weaken as well if there's enough burns out there. Now, for this particular team, as you can see, we have a Lydia as well, who is, of course, doing decreased defense and weaken much more consistently than Sissia is. So that's a pretty big part of the Sissia toolkit that we're not actually using, which is a big reason why I will be replacing her. And most likely for this team, I think actually, because I use Krisk in my Nightmare team, I don't think that Michinaki, he's okay with Krisk, don't get me wrong, but and we could use him there, but I'm more likely to put Tila into that team, who I think combos a bit better, whereas Michinaki's, decreased defense, decreased attack is wasted. Very likely to put Michinaki into this particular team, because what are we missing? You can see I sort of built the team with him in mind. We don't have decreased attack, so we really do get smacked around a lot by the Head of Wrath, and we don't have a Reviver either. But what we do have is actually a metric ton of healing and a metric ton of survivability. And Michinaki would be tankier than Sissia. I think she's the squishiest champion on the team. And we've got a cool combo with Archmage Helmet, not Archmage Helmet, with Archbishop Pinthroy, who does provide increased defense, which of course will then up the damage of Michinaki. So I think Michinaki is the one to put in instead. And I will update you on the team and show you my build for Michinaki, etc. when I actually get him. I will likely be waiting for probably a personal reward CVC to pull and to book him. So it might be a little while. I'd expect the next one not to be that, because the last one was. Lydia, we've already mentioned. She comes in, AoE decrease defense and weaken, increase speed and strengthen for us. So really helping us stay alive. She works really well with Inquisitor Shamael as well, because whenever you get feared, she counterattacks with her passive, which then triggers the Shamael passive. And it's a really good combo together. And she combos well, I think, too, with Archbishop Pinthroy, right? Who we're bringing in instead of Ugo. And of course, Lydia brings that decreased defense and weaken super consistently. So I think she's great. If you play on manual, she does bring you a backup block buffs single target as well, which is quite useful depending on affinities. That can be really good to have a void single target block buffs to back you up. But we're just going in full auto on this one. I actually can tell you this is full auto. It was during my World of Warcraft Mythic raid, which is why the video quality might not be absolutely the best here. But it was during that. It made me lag out a lot, but I still managed to play it. We're on Mythic Razageth. And finally actually seeing some progression in that. But yeah, so it was during World of Warcraft Mythic raid. Play a Preservation Evoker if you're curious. We have next up then Bibald of the Thorn in the lead. Gives us a HP aura, which is quite good to keep us alive. But really, he's in the lead mostly to get boosted by Inquisitor Shamael. What does Bivald do? Bivald pumps out provokes. He's probably the best provoke champion I have on my account. I don't have a Molly or a Solus or a Cantra, which I'd love to use for full auto stuff. Bivald is probably the best one. So definitely full auto, His A1, you'd want to be targeting towards that head. That's not something we're going to be able to use, which is part of why I brought in Vizix as well. Sneaky. But yeah, Bivald, he's pumping out provokes. He also pumps out a lot of healing. He does pump out some shielding. And he pumps out Leech too. So he's really going to help our team be super survivable. Archmage Helmet. Archbishop Pinthroy, I've already mentioned. He comes in as a block buff champion, which is great. We don't need Ugo's decreased defense because we've got Lydia. And he brings us increased defense and shielding, which is really going to help our survivability here, especially when we don't have a decreased attack. He's going to help us to tank any of those hits coming in. And then finally, a very, very underrated champion for HYDRA, which is Vizix. Vizix comes in. What does she have in her toolkit? 3-turn cooldown, decreased speed, ally protection, and a 3-turn cooldown AoE provoke. That's amazing. That's so good. So she is bringing us a reliable AoE auto-friendly provoke to back up Bivald. That is awesome. And decreased speed, comboing with the increased speed from Lydia. Two of the most important buffs and debuffs to have there with your team, so you keep ahead of the HYDRA. The tricky thing, of course, is going to be keeping her alive, but we are managing to keep her alive with this team. She doesn't have amazing gear. I'll show you the gear, but that would definitely be something to look at for higher difficulties. You'd be looking to build her tankier so that she can absorb those ally protection hits without dying, or you might want to have a reviver in or something. But yeah, in terms of how I'd switch up this team, definitely be looking for Michinaki in the place of Sisia. That'd be pretty great. And then it'd be kind of interesting. I don't think it's easy to get rid of Vizix, but we could potentially replace Bivald with somebody else. I've got some ideas. I've got some sneaky strategies, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But they're all really good Hydra champions. These are all like really good quality ones. Like I said, sort of the little bit we're missing is the decreased attack and the combo, but Michinaki brings Hex, he brings decreased attack, and all of his ally attacks. He really would do a lot of damage, so I think that he would fit in here perfectly. But as you can see, the run is going pretty well. We hit the 1 key for hard, around about here. So about 50 turns in. It's reasonably far in, about 10 minutes in, so it does take a while. The damage of this team is not super, super high. But it will get it done, and I actually haven't even seen this run myself because, like I said, I was running it. Oh, hang on. We got a new member, I think. I did hear that ping. I hit a membership ping. Oh, it's gone somewhere. But yeah, thank you to whoever became a member, and always thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. It's been hard to do these Hydra runs with a new puppy who takes a lot of time, but you can see we slowly get worn down. What did we end up with? Final score was 47.76 million here on hard. It ran for 26 minutes. I would say overall, you know, like I said, the damage for this team was reasonably low overall, but it more than got the job done. Certainly looking to push that up into Nightmare. This is where we would have to make a few different changes to the team, but this works really well. I think you could get this up into Brutal fairly decently too. You might need to just target heads again to make sure the Bivald provokes more consistent and stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see, we've got 8 million damage from Bivald. Look at his healing. He pumps out the healing like crazy. Vizix actually doing very respectable damage. Brimstone helping a bunch with that. And obviously your AoE War Master hits. Sisia, disappointing with the damage. I mean, did she die? No, she was alive for a long time. This is where I think Michinaki with the Hex and all the stuff he does is going to be a really, really big improvement. I think that's the X factor that's going to push this team. So if you got Michinaki in the Summon Rush event just this weekend, you're happy, right? Consider this team. Lydia doing actually good damage, doing her thing. Archbishop pumping out again lots of healing, the block buffs, very much like Ugo. He was a guaranteed champion last year, which is where I got him. And then Inquisitor Shamael coming in too. So if I show you the builds, actually let me double check. I come to hard. Will it show me which? So I've got a protection set on Shamael. Okay, I've got 3 different Shamaels. I just wasn't sure which one it was. So if we come through these, let's actually touch on Shamael first while I'm thinking about it. So protection, this guy. We've got protection set Shamael. So he actually doesn't fit in this team very well. I should have used a different one. That's funny. I messed it up. But this was what he was built like. So he's sort of built as a mischief tank, yeah, with blood shield accessory. But it's not going to work in this team because we've got so many sources of shielding in this team, right? Archbishop throws out shielding. Bivald throws out shielding. It's unlikely he's actually going to mischief tank very much. So that is something that, you know, I maybe would change. For example, I could build him as just a damage dealing Shamael. Would be better. So that's something to consider. His masteries are like this, which is probably what I'd run even on a damage Shamael for Hydra. But that's how he is running. We have Archbishop. He's coming in with these masteries. Fairly straightforward, I would say. He is in Relentless. Again, pretty straightforward. You pretty much always want Relentless on your block buff champions. It's just too good. And you want to make sure, especially if you're going in full auto, that, you know, when a head spawns in, that you're getting back to that quickly, and you can leave them just on full auto, and they're going to maintain that debuff as much as possible. It's quite important. But he's really solid. So we've got him going at a good speed. This could be faster, and he's very tanky. And yeah, that's basically him. He's got a good chunk of resistance to resist some of those debuffs because he just doesn't need accuracy. If you're building a team around him particularly, because he does put out increased accuracy, you could slouch on some accuracy requirements. But it might be a bit tricky without a buff extender, which we don't have on this team. We have Bivald, who's in triple perception. He's coming in with okay speed, tanky enough. He does have crit rate, some crit damage, good accuracy. Bit of a mixed build, right? Bit of a mixed build, but it gets the job done. And he is coming in with these masteries. So yeah, again, like I said, he pumps out a ton of healing. He pumps out a ton of provokes, tons of shielding as well. He's a great champ. Solid aura. Again, quite an underrated champion, I think. We have Sisia Flametongue. You could definitely sub in other champions like Ninja as well. Walking Tombdrang, this is what reminded me of this point. You could put in Walking Tombdrang instead. There's lots of burn champions you could put in. Tila Michinaki would be really good with Hex too for this team. But she's coming in. She is built like this. So she's built to be tanky with okay speed. I actually might redo her, to be honest. So she was built for being good for HYDRA while also working for Spider 25. She was in my main Spider 25 farming team. I could probably switch up this build now and we could get her like running faster. Maybe get her tankier and just cycling through this stuff. Maybe get her in relentless gear. It'd be pretty insane. There's probably a lot of stuff we could do with her, or reflex gear even. Yeah, probably reflex. That's something for me to consider. Maybe I'll wait to get impulse gear for her from the from the new live arena. We'll see. But yeah, she has these masteries, extending her debuffs, all that jazz. And War Master, of course. Lydia is coming in with War Master, extending her buffs and debuffs. Fairly straightforward. She is in triple perception just for those juicy stats. So good speed. She actually has a ton of resist. I actually have her built with tons of resistance for Nightmare HYDRA from way back when. She doesn't need this much for hard, of course. So you could ditch that resistance if you want. And again, she's got the accuracy for Nightmare HYDRA. I was using her in Nightmare HYDRA for a good while. And she's still in that build. So yeah, again, you could drop those stats some and she'd still be just fine. Right, but Lydia is Lydia. You've probably got her in pretty good gear. Let's be real. Vizix, then. I think a bit of a surprise MVP. She's in really old school gear. You can see she's in a bunch of 5-star gear. One 6-star weapon. But this is like my old and blue rings. This is Vizix. Back when I built her, you know, about 10 months into the game. And her gear's never changed since. I put her in some of the best gear I had back then. And she's basically been the same. So she's running at okay speed. Bit of crit rate. She's okay defensively. She's got some accuracy, but you could totally come in and have her running faster. Have her tankier probably. You don't necessarily need that crit rate. She has these masteries, so War Master. She's got this for some reason. Like I said, I haven't touched her in ages. I don't know why she has kill streak, but she's got kill streak. And what do you know? So yeah, that's Vizix. Yeah, I mean, you might want to watch out with extending her buffs just because she might die from the ally protection. But yeah, she's pretty cool. Who else do we have in there? We touched this, and this. There we go. That is all of them. That is the hard team. Let me know what you think. But yeah, let me know what you think, like I said. But Vizix plus Lydia is such a solid combo. You throw an Inquisitor Shamail in as well. Maybe throw in a Burner. Bivald is amazing. Block buff champion. You know, you can put this stuff together and build an effective team. This is what I use on hard. It's obviously overkill for hard, but I hope the video is interesting anyway. I'll see you all soon, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the Nightmare and Brutal teams coming soon. Goodbye.